Hello everybody, it's the Historical Gamer once again, and today we're returning, or I guess not returning, it's the first time I've been playing this game in quite a while. I have shown a couple of videos on Ultimate Admiral Age of Sail by the Game Lab folks, the folks who made Ultimate General Civil War, and made the more controversial naval action. This game, Ultimate Admiral Age of Sail, is a real-time strategy game that allows you to fight out naval battles in the age of sail, as you would guess from the title. And they have, since the last time I played it, which was many months ago, they have started introducing the campaign game. At the time I played it last, it was just a couple of single battles that you could fight through. Now they have added elements to both the British and American campaigns. This game seems to focus more on sort of the American Revolution or sort of period of time, less on, directly speaking, like Trafalgar, Napoleonic time. But we are going to be taking a first look tonight in my British campaign. So when you go into the campaign, you've got two options. You can go with the American campaign, where you're aiding the newborn Navy of the United States as the naval commander. Your mission is to organize our naval forces and lead them to victory, helping to establish the U.S. as a free nation. And Rule the Waves version of the campaign, which is where you take on the role of a Royal Navy commander. I think you start as a lieutenant on your way to become one of the legendary naval heroes for this sort of quintessential period of British naval dominance. Again, the game focuses a little bit on an earlier time period in the American Revolution, which isn't generally as popular. Like if you look at the Aubrey Martin series of historical fiction novels, or if you look at the Horatio Hornblower series, both of those take place very firmly in the Napoleonic era. Later than this, the Belitho novels by Alexander Kent do start in the American Revolution. I'm actually just finishing up the last of the Belitho novels, the fifth of the Adam Belitho novels, on Audible right now. So it's a fun little series. Although I would say definitely the peak of the genre is Hornblower and Aubrey Maturin. But we're going to play the British campaign, the Rule the Waves campaign.
For generations.
So we were born in 1758, and you are born to a seafaring family, so maybe like the Belithos.
And now it is mine. One day I went sailing and found that my old boat had sprung a small leak.
Okay. So we were born in 1759. We are a child at the age of 11. We are going to sea, and our boat has a small leak. We are given three options that will influence our character's traits as the campaign progresses. We have the option to repair the boat whole with driftwood that you found nearby, which reduces repair costs in port for your fleet. We have the option to patch the hole with wood from another boat, which reduces the upgrade costs of your fleet. And you have the option of taking a risk and going to sea anyway and fixing the hole later, which gives you a trait called Luck, that you have an additional success chance when sending your ships into side missions. We'll go with a driftwood, you think? I mean, my opinion is I would love the trait of Luck. But I guess driftwood, I guess repair costs at the end of battles would probably be better.
I repaired the hole with driftwood I found nearby. At 12, my uncle made me an apprentice aboard his ship. Standing between land and sea, I felt like a man for the first time. Anticipating a life on the open sea, I dreamed of battle and glory on the horizons. But life is difficult in the Royal Navy, far removed from dreams of glory. Remembering my father's lessons, I worked hard to impress the crew. In time, I was made a midshipman, beginning new responsibilities.
As a midshipman, I either did one of the three actions. I drilled the men relentlessly and made sure we had the most accurate gunners in the fleet.
That would be, okay, so that gives you a trait that improves crew training, speed. You have the option in battle to bravely carry wounded crewmen to the ship's doctor, which will, improve your morale? Crew healing, 5% casualty replenish after battle. Or morale is important, so I focus on keeping the men's spirits high, which makes recruiting veterans cheaper. I'm going to go with gunnery because I think having a more trained crew is going to be far more important for us.
I drilled the men relentlessly and made sure we had the most accurate gunners in the fleet.
Just don't be a tyrant there, buddy.
In the crucible of battle. For gallantry, I was recommended for promotion to the rank of lieutenant. But first, I must pass the lieutenant's exam. I was summoned before a board of captains. After a lengthy examination, they asked me what I thought the Navy's greatest strength was.
So we are now... Wait. Okay, 21 years old. No, 19 years old as we're attempting to pass the... this would be a cool mechanic in a game if you had to actually pass the naval examination, not just sort of pick a trait. But the options are... The officers know their Navy is better led, which gives you cheaper officer recruiting. The fleet, for no other Navy possesses our numbers and technology, which gives you better technology rates. Or reputation, that gives other nations fear us, and we can use this to our advantage, which gives you +1 reputation per battle. I'm going to go with reputation. I would have preferred if it was like ordinary seamen or something. Like, I know it's giving you the option to do officers, but I like the saying from the Bolitho novels that basically says that the better men are in, the officers are in the rear or something, the better men are in the front. I don't know. Anyway.
Reputation, I responded. Other nations fear us, and we can...
I wish the voice actor had a more traditional British accent.
They nodded their heads in assent.
I don't know where to place this guy's voice, but it doesn't strike me as, Royal Navy officer. Okay, so the fleet is the pinnacle of power. So this is basically a difficulty choice, so we can either go with easy, we can go with normal, or we can go with hard. I'm going to go with our fleet is admirable, but our enemies are always looking for an advantage against us, which is the medium difficulty.
Our fleet is admirable, but our enemies are always looking for an advantage to use against us. An old, grey-haired captain asked me about my skill in the organization of amphibious operations.
And so this is also us choosing the difficulty of land battles. I'm a sea wolf. I know everything about ships, but when my foot steps on land, I want back off immediately is easy difficulty. I've read many books about tactics and strategy and am confident in my ability to command as medium. And let me explain my vision of how the Royal Marine Corps can best be utilized in the coming war. We'll go with the middle option here. Again, normal difficulty.
I've read many books about tactics and strategy, and I am confident in my ability to command. The board applauded my answers and took a moment to reach their consensus. Congratulations, sir, they said. You have just made lieutenant.
We are a lieutenant! Hurrah! So we can... is this me choosing who I am? Is this just a portrait selection? I don't see anything different. Like, none of these traits on the side change based on... So I'm guessing this is just a portrait. So it can be Jervis John. Isn't it John Jervis? Horatio Nelson? Or Rodney Bridges? It doesn't look like it matters which one I pick, I'm guessing. I don't know. I guess we'll go with good old Horatio Nelson. I can't choose any of these options here, so we'll just go with Horatio Nelson. I love the little paintings between loading screens. Gentlemen, when the enemy is committed to a mistake, we must not interrupt him too soon. Horatio Nelson. So we're into our first battle. Spain guards the mouth of the San Juan River with a strategically... So apparently we're at war with Spain? This is the American Revolution time period. Did the that's one thing I'm iffy on my history. Obviously, I know the French got involved in the American Revolution. Did the Spanish as well? I think they did, but I don't know if there was any active fighting between them and the British. In any event, Spain guards the mouth of the San Juan River with a strategically placed fortification under the command of Captain General of Guatemala. Securing this entrance to the river opens the route to Lake Nicaragua and will bring all these rich lands under the authority of Britain and His Majesty King George III. Yeah, they did join. That's what I thought, but there wasn't actually much in the way of actual fighting with the Spanish, was there? Like, I know the French, obviously, they were heavily engaged in the American Revolution, but did the Spanish actually have any major battles or engagements with the British? Anyway, a frontal attack seems suicidal, but it seems we have no other option available. You will have to secure the fishing village and then march uphill to seize the fort and disable the coastal batteries. The Spaniards will do their best to cancel your plan, so you need to act swiftly. Duty calls, thanks for the follow, by the way. Okay, so this is very Hornblower or Maturin-esque, where you've got a naval battle that you have to fight, but then you also need to land Marines on the beach, move up a hill, and take a battery from the rear. Be aware of enemy coastal guns. They can obliterate your assault troops. So there's coastal guns here. It looks like I don't know, it's not a water battery, but they've got a battery, or at least a fortification line pointing along this direction, and then they have forts that are also guarding the channel over here. So you can see our ships are at sea. Spotted. Spain has a naval patrol in the area. Our ship has been intercepted by the corvettes Galaga and Mercedes. Their opening volleys rake the bridge. The captain is badly wounded, and the first lieutenant is missing. The situation is grim. Our troop ships follow behind. They will avoid the naval battle and wait for its resolution. Without our protection, they will become easy prizes for the Spanish. HMS Ceres, a light-armed brig, has sailed up to join the fight. So we've got 3 supply ships in the back. The Ceres is coming up. Richmond is our frigate, which is currently in battle. We are probably the second lieutenant here on the Ceres, and so our, we have taken command essentially. So our captain is down, our lieutenant is down, and that's the argument for why I am now in command of the fleet. You can see HMS Richmond right here. We've got 39 guns, so especially in the 1870s, this is very much a heavy frigate for this period of time. 271 crew. We've lost 9 killed. 1 gun is knocked out. You can see the hull, the sail, the speed along the bottom. Morale is 79. And then the crew condition is 87, which I'm assuming represents fatigue. I don't know what all the numbers along the side mean. But you can see here we're engaging the enemy with round shot down here selected. We could switch to grape shot or chain shot. Chain shot will take out the enemy sails. Grape shot will take out the enemy troops. But before we actually engage them with grape, you want to get rid of the armor. So one thing I don't entirely agree with the game on is it's sort of the top. You've got 3 different scores, if you will, or 3 different factors that matter the most. Blue is your sails, red is your armor, and then yellow is your hull. So presumably the armor represents some sort of defense for the crew that they can leverage. But once that goes away, then you really start tearing into the hull. We're raking this guy with the Ceres, by the way. I don't really quite get the argument for there being armor. There's some blocks and tackles and things that people historically in this era could hide behind, but it was, I don't know, it was a little bit weird. Anyway, you can see here that the wind, I believe, is coming from the red spot on the map. So actually, I'm turning into the wind. So I'm going to go ahead and try and turn through the wind, which would be tacking, I believe. Wearing is when you turn with the wind directly behind you, right? Anyway, I'm going to try and turn away through the wind and then get my other side, my unengaged side in. Also, because the enemy's just going to keep sailing by, we're going to get a pretty good angle on their stern here and do a little bit of damage here. You can see the Galga is suffering a bit of damage. Its hull and its armor are down a bit. The Ceres, we're going to turn to get it into action. So essentially the way the game works is, my understanding is you can use grape shot to kill the enemy crew, but you really don't want to do that until you've actually eliminated their armor first. Otherwise the grape shot is ineffective. So we're getting some good hits in on Mercedes. Also, friendly fire is a thing in this game, which it was not really a thing in previous Ultimate games, like at Ultimate General. Even for land units, friendly fire is a thing. Meanwhile, we got a nice second volley there. We were firing through both sides of the enemy, of our line. We had broken the enemy line. All right, so we're through the wind. We could go alongside to engage in a boarding action, but we probably want to weaken them a little bit more. Although we do have an advantage in numbers. Ooh, the Ceres is taking pretty heavy damage. And this is sort of the tutorial mission, if you will, the first version of this, or first battle in the campaign. See, the red remarks damage that we receive, and then the numbers with like blue in them that aren't red is damage we're inflicting. So we've come across this enemy's stern here, the Mercedes' stern. The Ceres armor is badly damaged, by the way, on this side of the ship. These two enemy ships are coming in very close. We're getting some nice damage, some shots that are passing through the hull. One thing I do think is it should be easier to cause an enemy to surrender. Ships very rarely were sunk in this era. And in this game, it seems like ships sink a lot. Oops. How do I... Alright. So you can see our transports are coming up as well, by the way. The Dorset, the Plymouth, and the Sandwich are all coming up. We're going to send them in toward the beach. Hopefully the enemy doesn't engage them. You can see Ceres has come back around. Oh, I'm going to cut between these guys, aren't I? Morale is a thing. The enemy will surrender, but it's just not... It's not... I don't think the balance... I think the balance is off on it. Am I shooting through my own lines? Oh no, I'm doing damage to my own ship! I think, anyway. Alright, so our frigate, the Richmond's going to swing back down. You can see here we're down to 36 guns. It looks like we have 4 officers along here. I'm assuming the yellow officer represents being wounded. The enemy, meanwhile, has an artillery shock, which I think represents that it took a lot of damage from our artillery, which is also, again, I believe, somehow related to, like, if an enemy is going to surrender or anything like that. Fire down its stern. Give him more artillery shock. We're sailing sort of into the wind. The enemy might be kind of going after our transports here with the Galaga. Yeah, he is firing at our transport here. You can see we have 241 men on board. She is a troop transport. Meanwhile, the Richmond is all aback, directly into the wind. So we're going to turn back. The enemy, meanwhile, is turning away from our ships, interestingly, presenting its stern to Ceres. You can see we're doing a little... Oh, he turned to fire on this transport, but most of his shots all went wide, so it wasn't a very effective broadside. Meanwhile, the Richmond puts a broadside into the Galga. The Ceres also sailing right alongside it. I don't know why she's not shooting, though. Oh, I think she's going to shoot now. Yeah, there she goes. The Ceres is an 18-gun brig, 106 crew. 18 guns for a brig seems a little bit high. That's probably more like a sloop of war, right? Alright, so we're turning the Richmond again. We've got the Ceres between the Galga and our transports. The transports are heading in toward the beach. You can see off there in the distance. That was the important thing, was to make sure they didn't lose too much to the enemy. The Galga, I can't see how many guns she has, but she's pretty beat up in any event. The Richmond's going to kind of turn back around and see if we can rake from a little bit of a distance. Ceres needs to complete its tacking, come back through the wind. All of the armor on the starboard side of the, or is it the port? I can't see, I guess, of the Ceres is beat up. Its armor, its actual hull is at like 50% strength. That's not a good look. She's battered. She's not firing very effectively either. You can see its hull's at 61% strength. It's only lost 5 crew members, though. But definitely getting beat up. Doing her duty, though. Protecting her troop transports from getting hit too badly. The Galga is flooding, as represented by this flooding icon, I presume. Its hull is actually lower than the Ceres at this point. The enemy Mercedes is kind of standing off at this stage. I'm going to go ahead and have the Richmond... I should turn to shield from the Mercedes. Ceres, meanwhile, should present the other side of it. That ship. Apparently, some of the enemy shots are passing through one side to the other to damage its armor, if you will. Whatever we want to call that. But the Richmond's too far off to provide accurate fire against the Galga. Nice little stern chaser shot there. Richmond has come around. I think we'll head almost back into the wind here, but we don't have a good angle on the Galga. You know, the enemy fired through, and Ceres is making a nice turn here, wearing the ship, bringing the other battery around to bear. The slightly less damaged side. It's a sharp turn. Can't imagine that would be an accurate broadside. And it's not. Alright, so the Mercedes is, again, just kind of standing off. We don't actually need to sink these enemy ships or capture them or do anything. We just need to get the troops ashore. Meanwhile, we're suffering some damage on the Sandwich. I don't see a lot of in the way of, like, repair options, by the way, for damage. That's one thing that's a little bit not super clear to me. You've got the 3 mast icons here. Sails at 100% hull. Then you got 2.9 knots, I'm assuming. I'm assuming the level 2 is the amount of flooding, because it looks like that's the ship sort of teetering over and going under. Then you've got sort of a sail rating, a combat rating, I'm assuming like melee, maybe enemy aboard, 132 gun icon, and then 98 is probably 98% for the crew. Looks the series has a 15 sinking rating. Alright, so she's going to continue trying to rake the Galga, which is way far behind. Our transports are closing with the shore. The Richmond is not fast enough, doesn't look like, to get out ahead of the Mercedes. We'll angle it a little bit differently there. So Ceres is pointed into the wind. We'll have her turn around that way. Meanwhile, the Dorset is coming ashore. We're going to go ahead and turn her away from the enemy batteries here. You can see there's 6-pound coastal batteries up here on this beach. They could fire on us from where they're at. And then we've got the 6-pound sort of main battery here. So it looks like there's, what, 3, 6, 9 or so guns blocking the channel, and then 2 guns guarding the beach. They're not shooting at us yet. So we're going to go ahead and use this little boat icon, which will actually give us the option of dropping troops ashore. And we're going to drop both our sailors and our marines ashore. They're deploying. Looks like they can't fully deploy yet because they're at high speed, so we'll cut the sails. Meanwhile, the Richmond is trying to close on the Mercedes, which is still standing off. We'll go ahead and turn the Ceres to go back after the enemy ship. All right, so we've dropped the sails. Our troops are coming ashore. 98 Marines and 115 sailors. Actually, don't do that with the... All right, so we're also going to drop the Plymouth sailors. These guys are 100 and 200 Marines on the Plymouth. It's kind of cool. You just heard what sounded a little bit like thunder, but I'm pretty sure it represented the ships off in the distance firing a broadside. Meanwhile, we just suffered a little bit of damage. Coastal battery's not shooting at us, apparently. Yeah, I don't... It might intentionally be so. Okay. So you can see there's an enemy field battery here on the shore that's going to fire right into the flank of Bailey's Marines. So Bailey's Marines will engage the 2nd Tirados Company. Oh, there was a can... Look out! Oh my god, those huge 6-pound cannonballs coming down, crashing into our flank. Get into the damn woods, charge that battery. Get out of the range, you're getting hit in the flank. Okay. By the way, the Mercedes and the Richmond are right alongside now. So I'm going to use the grapple mechanic. Actually, I'm going to switch to AI control. I'm going to go ahead and target this ship. All right, we're going to grapple and attempt to board this enemy ship. We're right alongside the Mercedes with the Richmond here. Now, to board, it's a little bit complex. I think you basically have to just come perfectly alongside the enemy, and that allows you to board. So you need to kind of be side by side, almost like the battleships in Battleship Row, and you need to have the right angle and the right distance to be able to board the enemy. So you can see we're slowly coming up here. We've got yellow, which indicates that our distance is good. Our alignment is good. Now it's just about bringing the angle up properly. We just fired a broadside straight alongside the enemy, by the way. That would be dangerous as hell. We're also heading into a rocky shore. I don't want to get the Richmond sunk or anything. Meanwhile, the 4-pounder just... what do you call it? The 4-pound artillery battery on the coast we just took. So it looks like our speed at this point is matched and good. Our distance is good. We just need the right angle there. Which apparently the enemy is now sailing past us. I can't get the boarding. We're literally... You could jump between the two ships. Anyway, the enemy Galga sank. But so too did our ship. Or wait, no, that's the... Where did our other ship go? Where did the Ceres go? Oh, she's over here. So the Galga sank. Meanwhile, the enemy put 70 men off on boats away from the Galga as it went down. And so they're rowing for their other ship. The Mercedes has surrendered to us. And so we're going to go ahead and we're going to put 50 Marines in boats. We actually need to sail away from the coast. We're going to put these Marines aboard the Mercedes and take control of this vessel here. So you can see they're in their boat here, and they're gonna row for the Mercedes. Meanwhile, the land battle, I've been not paying attention, and so my troops are getting shot up a bit. You can see McDonald's men are kind of running for it. So we're going to put Begwin and Polson ashore. Another 200 men or so. McDonald, don't run under the guns. That seems like a foolish thing to do. Also, the guns surrendered, but then they must have been retaken or something, because they're still in the enemy hands. All right, we'll let those guys get their morale up a little bit, I think. Although they're going to get shot by enemy artillery. All right, so we shattered the 4-pound battery. It looks like they're running for it. All right, let's go take out this militia here in the San Juan town with Bulky's troops. And this is very much this is very much Ultimate General once again here for the land combat. Except obviously in the musketry age as opposed to the rifled musket age. The smoothbore age versus the rifled musket age. Meanwhile, we're suffering friendly fire from Bailey's troops here in our rear. So we'll shift Bailey over to the right to take out the Turados company. McDonald is recovering some of its morale. We got 2 more boats coming ashore. Bulky's going to go this way. This looks like an enemy town. We have 90. This is also, it has, I guess, extra ammunition here in this town. It's a supply source. These enemy troops are surrendered. I think they can be liberated, but as long as the enemy doesn't come up to them, I think we're safe from them rejoining the enemy. But you do kind of have to manage them. All right, so Begum's ashore here. Polson's coming ashore, so we've got another 200 reinforcements coming. Meanwhile, there's another 100 or so enemy coming this way. They may be making a pull for the shore. They could also try and take our ships, I think, given we're basically at anchor. Enemy artillery. Jesus! Look at that. They just knocked half... Oh, half the guys apparently didn't get killed. They just got knocked over. I guess the ball didn't actually hit them. Oh, shit. Turn around and run! Oh, that British flag kind of blowing in the breeze as they charge down the enemy is kind of a cool look. Where's the Hessians? I guess they'd be on our side, but... Alright. So we're going to go ahead and advance this way. Meanwhile, we drove back this company across the river. Alright, we're going to move bulky into to deal with these incoming enemy boats. Meanwhile, we're firing at the boats, but not with good accuracy. You can definitely knock them out. I've done it, but apparently our crews are not very accurate. Are they going to try and go for our ships here? You can see these Marines are on the boat trying to repel boarders, perhaps. Well, it looks like they're going to sail past it. Alright, so we're going to move these troops up this wood line. Meanwhile, the enemy have come ashore. The flag in front! Well, that's weird. Volley 'em! Volley 'em, boys! Now charge into the men. They're on the beach. Drive them into the sea! Alright, I don't want to get them liberating that cannon in my rear again. How about you just stop there, Mercedes? You're not doing any good versus that boat. I don't know if you're trying to ram it or what you're trying to do. Whoa! I don't know if we were shooting our friendly ship. I couldn't see. Actually, I think we damaged the enemy boat there. We inflicted pretty heavy casualties on them. Meanwhile, Begum has come back here and is engaging the Theodores. Bulkery, meanwhile, is engaging. Why are you allowing your rear to be flanked? Alright, so we're moving these guys up the hill. You can see we've got Outskirts 3rd Company over here. These men look to be in something along the lines of a skirmish company. Polson's in here guarding the flank. We're going to sweep him in around as well. MacDonald is guarding the other flank here. We're going up a very steep hill here. MacDonald, move forward this way. Where are they going? They're in the rocks. Alright, Bailey, why don't you charge these guys? Oh no, I'm running in friendly fire again. Shifter fire. Palmer is shattered. Who's Palmer? Oh, those are the bad guys? What are you shooting at on the beach there, boys? How about you stop sailing around? You're going to ram each other. Furl your sails and anchor. No, Richmond, what are you doing? Oh, Richmond is shooting at those guys. Okay, well. I don't want you to sail right under the enemy guns, so let's not do that. Zigzag. Appropriate name for what my troops are basically doing. I don't know why. I feel like they still need to work a little bit on your friendly troop movement AI. Outskirts 1st Company. Polson. Alright, so we've got enemy troops coming in on this side. Meanwhile, McDonald's coming up here along the edge of this 6-pounder coastal battery. Go and engage the garrison. Ensign John Polson is wounded. The officer, sir. He's down. Alright, so we're driving off this Outskirts Company. Granada's outskirts company. Halt and fire into their rear. There you go. You shattered them, boys. Yeah, my troops did not seem to be bothered by going up a long hill, a long slope. All right, Richmond, stay there. I guess you're kind of out of range of the enemy guns. This company, meanwhile, Begum, charge, overrun these guys. Nothing like Marine fighting on the beach. There you go. Begum captured him, boys. Everybody get up that hill. Outskirts companies running at my 50 Marines. I like the difference between the seaman outfits and the Marine outfits. That's kind of a neat little thing. These guys are firing at point blank range. Hey, McDonald, go ahead and charge them. Meanwhile, hold your fire there, Adelaide. Oh, don't shoot into the boys. So obviously this is very ultimate generally when you get into the land combat, but it's a much smaller scale. You don't have, 20,000 soldiers like you did in the Civil War battles fighting each other. So it does seem appropriate. All right, so Polson just eliminated an enemy company over there on the flank. We'll move him out this way. Bailey's moving into the heart of this enemy fort here. Going to move it on the flank of the battery garrison. We're going to move McDonald this way. All right, go ahead and halt here. Meanwhile, it looks like Hartigale's low on ammo. I don't know how much ammo your troops carry with them. Oh, I just told them to charge, apparently. That was not my intent. Pretty even fight there, too. There's a second company of regulars over here. 80 Spanish regulars. Meanwhile, I just got Headley, not Hartigale, I don't know why I keep saying that, but Headley just got shot in the flank by his own friendly troops. So Polson is engaged. All right, the enemy garrison there is shattered. We can order these men to take control of the battery, you can see, and then we can control this. The only thing is we don't have any... I don't know why I did that, because now those troops are locked into the battery, I think. Might be able to pull them off that. Yeah, I can release the crew. There's no reason to take control of the battery at the moment because there's no enemy ships to shoot at. So the coastal battery is going to pull themselves off their guns. Bulkley's coming up. 160 men here. This is a large enemy formation. Meanwhile, Polson and the regulars are going at it in the woods over here. Yeah, my troops did not skip leg day. I just saw that. I think I misread it the first time I saw it, but... Well, they're ready. Take aim! Fire! Alright, you need to get a little bit closer in there. Go ahead and use McDonald. Engage the enemy more closely. Alright, Bailey, turn on their flank. That should help. So we went from having like a 3-to-1 disadvantage. Now we've got about 100 men in the line and then about 50 on their flank. So it's a pretty even disparity of men. Secured the battery. Oh, the objective. So we've secured the contested battery here. So you can see the objectives are capture the village, save the Richmond, and take the battery. We've done the battery, but it does take a little bit of time between when the objective is seized and when it gives you credit for the victory. So we have to hold it for 20 in-game minutes, not real-life minutes. Why are you flanked? You're not really flanked at all, right? The coastal battery should be flanked. We've got Bailey kind of on his flank there. Of course, the coastal battery is flanked from the second company of regulars. Polson continues to fire into their flank. Alright, just charge there, Bulkley. Begwin come up here as reserves, another 60. I mean, we're losing a lot more men. I'm definitely butchering my men here. Hey, Brack. How's Canada doing? Hope you guys are doing well up there. All right, so we're taking friendly fire. We routed the enemy. We routed the second company of regulars. Polson can go ahead and charge those skirmishers here. The enemy battery crew is being driven back, potentially jumping over their fortress walls. Looks like they're broken, and they're not shooting back, and we're shooting them in the back because they're facing the opposite way. I think the game thinks they need to retreat, but they have nowhere to retreat to. As a reminder, everybody, this game is still very much in early access, so it's still being developed. There's patches that are coming out almost every day, so just as a reminder there. Those poor devils. You say it, Edward Peleliu. Oh, no, they are not. Okay, so they're shooting at us. I guess I was wrong there. Weird scrolling mechanic. I'm trying to zoom in more, and it won't let me. Then it, like, bounces me out. I'm not a war criminal. They just shot a volley back. They lose any rights. Tell that to Hadley's men. How are our ships? I think everything else is... I basically told my ships over here to furl their sails. They're all skeleton crews except for the Richmond. The abandoned boats along the beach. You could put more soldiers in there and use them. The troop transports. Everything's going well. Victory for the Royals. They are still shooting back. They're loading their guns. Oh! I like how now that they've like dropped their flags and are running, our troops are just like, okay, just pass through our lines now. Well, I guess they're just vanishing into nothing. I don't know if those guys jumped off the cliff or what. All right, well, I think that's all the enemy units. There might be some further off this way or something. So we've got 2 minutes left. Looks like we still have 2 hours left in this fight. It's a relatively easy fight, my bumbling aside. So this battle will end in just a matter of a couple moments. And then at that point in time, then we can... So interesting. Begwin can take control of the battery, but only certain units can. So I'm guessing the Marines can, and the sailors... well, I'm not sure. Because no one can take control of this battery. Huh. Alright, there you go. Victory. Side A versus Side B. Again, still being developed. So, fleet strength. 5 ships, 58 guns, and 184 crew. We lost 313 crew. Most of those, I think, in the land battles. The enemy, meanwhile, had 2 ships with 260 crew and 56 guns, as well as 834 infantry, so all told about 1,000 men as well. The enemy lost 1 ship sunk, 1 ship captured, 245 of their crew, so only 15 of their crew did not perish. Ooh. Meanwhile, their army strength of 834 men and 13 guns lost about half of its strength, killed or wounded, another 69 missing, and the guns, I guess they lost all of them, but not in battle, because it says 0 gun casualties, but I captured the batteries, so I don't know how that works. Goals? All are fulfilled. Save the Richmond, hold the battery. Units, you can see some of them, their status is destroyed. Some of them is heavy damage. You can see the battery garrison destroyed, the militia de San Juan captured, the Mercedes is captured, the Galga is sunk, the Granadas outskirts heavy damage, Teredos number 2 heavy damage, Teredos company heavy damage, the HMS Ceres suffered medium damage, the Richmond light damage, their 6-pound coastal battery suffered no damage, all 3 of them. And then the transports, the Dorset, the Plymouth, and the Sandwich all suffered no damage. You can see over here in terms of efficiency, this is hull damage inflicted or received. I'm not sure which. Rigging damage and then casualties, I assume. I'm assuming this is inflicted damage because the Richmond has an absurd amount there, 1,248. The series much less, 258. Meanwhile, in terms of officers, no one was killed, wounded, or promoted. In terms of goods, looks like we captured some Sea Service 38 musket and bayonets, some Sea Service 78 musket and bayonets. We also rescued some of our own weapons there, and I'm assuming that works the same way that the game treats weapons in Ultimate General Civil War, when you can like use those weapons to equip new troops or bring them forward to the next battle. Additionally, it looks like the Mercedes, I think it's a 28, it says 28 next to it, I'm assuming that's 28 guns, is also captured, so she's also on our side. Play the Side A national anthem for this victory. Oh, Side A, you are victorious, you are the greatest side, you are Side A. Anyway, I probably shouldn't sing. I don't think they spiked the guns charcoal. I think they're ours. You can... Oh, okay. Expedition from Friday, March 10th, 1780. I have been promoted to captain and command a brig and an old sloop. You're probably technically a master and commander, or a commander being called captain as a courtesy, because you generally don't go from lieutenant straight to captain. I dreamed of staying on HMS Richmond, but would have remained a lieutenant. Promotion is better, no? We are anchored in the mouth of the San Juan River and are waiting. We have no news from home, no news from Jamaica, no news at all. There is a saying, during war, no news is good news, but we need to replenish the food and rum for the men. Rumors about half rations may become reality in a matter of weeks. All right, everybody, and that's going to do it for this first look at the Ultimate Admiral Age of Sail British campaign. This game is still in early access, as a reminder, so it's still all being developed. But this is our first look at the first battle in the campaign. In our next video, we'll take a look at the actual campaign map. We'll kind of stumble through that, and then we will also fight another battle. But until next time, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please leave your thoughts down below, and until next time, I'm out.